So a little bit more about this Dungeons and Dragons reality show, or tabletop role-playing game reality show idea. Um, there's a lot of just different types of role-playing games that last for hours, and ideally like weeks, to months. So the idea that you can do, or the way the editing can unfold is, if you go 7 days a week, 7 campaigns, 6 players, 7 people including the DM, 8 people if you have a host character. You take the DM as, this is the thing I'm creating, this is the theater of the mind that I'm exploring with you guys, the players. The audience is just there to witness. And so as a result, you can make things interesting by including animations, showing, visually, like they would have a board, or a map, a game map, matting, or a map or a hex, whatever you call it, showing and illustrating, like, well, this is the environment that these guys are in, that this is the battlefield that these guys find themselves on. Here's visualizations of their characters, of the creatures that they're encountering. The magical ways are moving around, magical things they're interacting with. So that's something that which is and that's it. What's interesting about that is you can have. So if you have this in a formatted TV presentation, part of it would be live streaming online to whoever is there. So you have a website, you have an online community, which is going to. The idea of the show is that you're going to get 7 role-playing game masters who have established audiences, who live stream, and they get just hundreds of people following that. So and it's funny because the person I'm thinking of is Matthew Colville, and WebDM guys, Pruitt and John Davis, Matthew Pruitt and John Davis. So I apologize for forgetting guys' names. You say it all the time. But like those guys are awesome. But the thing is, like a lot of the people I'm thinking of, like, well, they have jobs, they're married, they have this and that, and Pruitt I think would do it. It's like he would do it, he would love it. So, but and I'm thinking, like, if possible, Dale Kingsmill, if she was up for it. And then there's people from Europe, UK, and South Africa. But yeah, it's like who would be up for hey for 4 weeks? You live in a house with about 7 people with a film crew, and just do stuff. Anyways, the format of the show, you have the live stream of the game, which can be done with cameras. That's what a lot of these game masters already do. You have the film crew, and the film crew is almost superfluous, but like they would be, you would ideally have a little camera you can just move around and for zoom in and just like, okay, what's going on here and there. But even then, that film crew is going to be supplemented, because by having the live stream presentation, the fans will just immediately start doodling artwork, and so what will end up happening is a Tumblr account will likely be created of just all the images, and so all these guys submitting artwork of things they've created, which could also lead to other explosion of other things. But so all the inspired artwork for the different games going on. That's been in a Tumblr account. Um, the You can also have people likely who would create comics based off of what you're seeing. So like they put into context what you're witnessing. That can help give an idea like, hey, what if we created a animated sequence of this? Like just short thing, just like demonstrating whatever. So that could be whatever CGI computer program that can be involved. Um, so that adds a lot of nice flavor and flair to what's going on. And as if the show continued on, you'd ideally be able to up the CGI effects and make it something more substantial and eye catching. But I think for the audience, it helps them to understand what it is that's happening for the role-playing game experience. There's the people sitting around the table, but there's what's going on in their mind, what they understand. And so for the short attention span audience, unfortunately, it's like you're like, hey, here's this awesome flashy thing, so you understand what's happening. And if you sync it up to the audio, it's like, oh, I get it. Yeah, that's what's happening right here. They can totally immerse themselves in the experience of the game. So that's the live streaming. You take the 7 different campaigns. So that each episodes, potentially one can be dropped and cut up and used as like examples. Like say so you have these 7 campaigns, and however they end up, and you just decide like at the end of it, like, okay, this this is these are really really strong. This one is just kind of, well, it just wasn't as strong as the other ones, and we still want to use it, but rather than we could recreate a whole show, devote a lot of resources to it, we use this as sort of we use the footage for other things, and like to help illustrate this and that, etc. So that way it's like you have examples. So like as the campaign's going on, for the audience, you can sort of help amp up the dramatic effect. Like, okay, the characters are encountering this sort of dilemma. This other show, this happened where there was a dilemma, there was a choice, or there was a challenge, or a competition, or whatever. So that way you have extra footage for that. Ideally, this all becomes a nice CD package that people can purchase, and especially with online content as well. And then of course there's the the booklet materials that like campaigns where these guys got these things from, and then what else can be added to that. So yeah, the purpose of the host is, in my opinion, because the game masters, they are just regular die-hard hardcore players in a lot of cases. They either have their particular style or whatever, and they know the ins and outs of gameplay and what can be done. So the idea of a host, character is the guy who's like potentially the new guy, who so that way it's the window for the audience to understand what is it that we're seeing and witnessing, so what's the challenge, what decisions would I make, based off of what I understand of the game. Because that's the other thing is okay, so what is the purpose of the game? Because that's the other thing, the game masters, for them it's always well, we play these games all the time, this is the latest, this is the way I'm going to play, this is the style I'm going to play this time, this is how outlandish or how I can break the rules of the system. What's the limits of what I can do? Can I be this outlandish character? Yeah, I'll be this outlandish guy. That's the idea. The host character is like, well, I'll be vanilla, bland, just as far as coloring features, roll the dice. But just a basic, simple guy, and you learn. Male or female, flip a coin. And so like just go from there and play it. The So I think that would be like just an interesting way to go and approach it. What else? Yeah, it's because then you get music that can be inspired by the gameplay. That can be added to the formatted show. So, and audiences, who would be interested? Old, young, and I think because depending on the content of the campaign, because like there's some campaigns that are explicit, they do take place in a very adult world, like the idea adult consequences are involved. So that could be, who knows how many campaigns that can be. Like, but there's one in particular, like Warhammer, that I can think like, yeah, that could be where that's definitely explicit. The other ones, like, well, you can bleep out or edit out, cuss words, but generally, if you tell all the players, the people involved, like, we'll just play clean, and like, yeah, it's possible, and they'll have a lot of fun doing that too, because like, oh, yeah, so now I can be expressive in my expletives, but yeah, young people would get involved in it, especially because of the graphics, and so they can understand like, okay, what is it that these guys are involved in? Oh, I can do this as well. So this is the other idea is that the show is a gateway introduction to people to this is something you can participate in. For the old people, it's the same way, same thing. So that would be interesting to see if you could create a show that involved the elderly, based off of this concept. Follow up, the expansion shows like, all right, get some old people together and because of their just wealth of knowledge and experience, like, all right, so how would they, like, how do they handle these different things, or what's their approach to these games? So, some ideas. Yeah, if you like the idea of a Dungeons and Dragons or tabletop role-playing game show, please share this video, spread the word. Thank you.